Hi, welcome to the Modern Studies How to Pass advice for higher pupils and their parents and guardians. I'm just going to take you through a very brief overview of how the course is assessed and then focus on what you can do to support your own person to succeed at higher modern studies. So a very quick course outline. There are 3 units within the higher course. Unit 1 looks at democracy in the United Kingdom, and we're coming to the end of this unit of study just now. Unit 2 is a social issues unit, and we focus on crime and the law. And the final unit is an international issues unit, and we focus on terrorism. So some of this our pupils will bring in prior learning from National 5. Some pupils might need to go a wee bit further back into what we study in S2 or S3. And to say each of these units will feature in the course assessment, which I'll explain as we go through. In terms of course assessment for higher, so your child is going to be assessed throughout the course to track their progress. This will consist of completing essays and skills questions either in class or for homework, be a combination of both. These are really important because it lets me see how they're progressing. It also lets me offer advice and support on how to improve. Pupils will also complete a unit assessment at the end of each of the 3 units of study. Again, this is useful for providing feedback, but it also allows me to determine tracking grades and their predicted grade that will go to the SQA. So these will all prepare the pupils for their prelim and for their final exam. The prelim date for Modern Studies is yet to be confirmed, but the S5 and S6 prelim diet is on the week beginning the 23rd of January, and the final exam is confirmed as being Thursday the 18th of May. The exam will consist of 2 papers. So question paper 1 is the knowledge paper, so it's worth 52 marks. And pupils will be asked to complete 3 essay questions, 1 for each of those units I mentioned previously. There'll be 2 20-mark essays and 1 12-mark essay. Pupils will have 1 hour and 45 minutes for this paper. There will be a choice of essay that pupils can choose from or select from. Within the democracy unit, they'll have 4 essays that they can choose 1 from. In both the crime and international issues sections, they'll get a choice of 3 questions, and again, they'll just choose 1. The combination of 20-mark and 12-mark can appear anywhere across each of the 3 different units. There are slightly more choice, or there is now more choice than there was before. This is a modification coming off the back of COVID. If pupils are looking at past papers, they'll find there is less kind of choice, but for this year, it stays as 4, 3 and 3 that the pupils can choose their essay from, and that will support the pupils in terms of their revision, making sure that as long as they're prepared within these areas, they'll have an easy choice from any of these questions. The second paper then is a skills-based paper. It's worth 28 marks. There are 3 questions in this exam, and they're all based on a range of different source evidence. The pupils all have 1 hour and 15 minutes for this paper. So the 3 questions are all based on the source evidence that's presented. It generally runs between 3 and 4 sources in each of the questions. For the objectivity, which is one of the types of questions, they've been asked to analyse a quote from someone and use the sources to back up and show how that person is correct and show how that person is incorrect, and have they been objective in what they've said. In the conclusions questions, the pupils will be given specific conclusions that they have to arrive at, but they'll also be asked to make an overall conclusion on the evidence that's presented to them. The final source question is a reliability question. This one only has 3 sources that the pupils have to assess for reliability, and that generally just asks them to look at things like the authorship of the source. Would that person be biased? Look at the date of the source. Is the information likely to be not accurate and up to date, or is it an old source, in which case the information could have changed? So it's all the information for these questions is based on the sources, and the pupils, once they get to grips with the structure of how to answer these questions, can hopefully go into the assessment confident that they will be able to complete the paper in a straightforward way. So obviously how you can support your child. please encourage them to complete homework. This will be posted on Google Classroom and Show My Homework. I think Show My Homework makes it a bit easier for you to see what homework that they have. It is really useful for me to be able to, particularly for higher with essays, for me to be able to feed back on ways that they can improve. And you tend to find that there is no progression as they go through the year and get to grips with the structure and how much they need to write. And if I can't comment on things if I don't have it returned. So if you can encourage to complete any homework that's set. I am also going to run Supported Study. It is a combined higher and National 5 and it will be on Mondays after school, after the October holidays. Some Mondays there will be staff meeting, but the pupils will know in advance if it's not on. So again, if you can encourage your child to sign up and come along to Supported Study when it is on, that would be greatly appreciated. In Modern Studies, we really push the pupils needing to know relevant examples. It's really, really key when they're writing their essays, when they are making points and they're explaining those points, that they back it up with accurate, relevant, supporting examples. Obviously, as we go through the coursework in class, we discuss these, the pupils write them down, it's in the notes that they have. But I also encourage the pupils to watch the news or follow the news online on their phone or on social media, whatever they prefer to use. But there is lots of information out there that could make it an awful lot easier for them to recall these examples, right? To just keep themselves knowledgeable about what's happening. Obviously, democracy, crime, terrorism are all units and events that we'll hear lots of news about. So it's really useful if people can do that because it means that they'll find examples naturally occurring rather than finding that they have to search them out and study them. On the next few slides, there's a couple of examples of other ways that they can pupils can revise, and it's some study cards do work for some pupils. What I do at the beginning of each unit is give the pupils a course outline. For higher, that's really just the bullet points that they can expect to find essays about. If they use those as a kind of checklist, if they can create mind maps or study cards, whatever they prefer for each of these, it means that they're preparing the relevant examples, know their points and explanations, the supporting examples that they can then use to put into an essay. There are some online tools, Google Classroom, as well as posting homework. I put all of the course material on there. I do it as we go along over the course of the year. It means if pupils are absent and they miss anything, the course material is there. So again, if your child is absent, particularly if they're absent for maybe a longer period of time, could you encourage them to look at Google Classroom and see what they might have missed with the tasks? And it means that they don't feel they're falling too far behind. There is a Higher Modern Studies bite-size page. The only small issue with that is it doesn't cover the terrorism unit at Higher, but there is a lot of information, a real wealth of information for the democracy and the crime unit, so it's another area where pupils can gain some information. I haven't mentioned anything on here about buying books. There are study guides. With modern studies, though, things change a lot and all the time, and we've seen that quite a lot recently. So those are available should you wish. But again, similar to the issue with the bite-size unit, not every modern studies topic is included in all the study guides. So just maybe get your child to check before you purchase something that maybe is missing some of the information that they need. And lastly, the SQA website. So there's a wealth of information on there, and I'm sure that's would come across some lots of other subjects as well. But past paper questions, once pupils feel that they have, they've done that revision, they have their notes, whether that's their mind maps, their study plans for essays. The past paper questions are the best way for them to test that can they complete the essays, to look at what the questions, how they're set out, to practice them. The more essays that they do, the more chance that one of those choices in the final exam will be an essay that they are quite comfortable in addressing. There are obviously specimen question papers for paper 1 and paper 2. Again, those have the marking schemes attached, and it's one thing we will say to the pupils is look at the marking schemes. Not all the marking schemes, particularly in the final Unit 3, they don't always apply to the topics that we do, but it lets the people see just how much they have to write to pick up the marks and to gain those. So those are there, and that's the same with the past papers generally. You can access the marking instructions. The pupils can check that they are kind of meeting that standard. And finally, the understanding standards. This resource is more designed for teachers, but again, it has really useful information, and that it will show you pupils' scripts that have been marked by the SQA, but it'll provide a commentary, so it tells you why marks and why and where marks have been awarded. So again, that's something if pupils are not sure that they're writing enough or they're not sure that they're putting enough in, they could use that to just give them a wee idea that they are doing what they need to do. And obviously, I'm available if need be, so if I can offer any further support on Motor Studies, please get in touch. My email is just the school email address, so you can just get me through that. Or if you prefer to call, just contact the school office, leave a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible if there's anything I can do to further support you and your child. Thanks very much.